The piercing shriek of the Titan's tower alarm sliced through the peaceful afternoon. In the common room, Raven's eyes snapped open, her dark aura flaring momentarily. Beast Boy, mid-grapefruit munch, transformed into a startled green meerkat, fruit flying. Starfire, humming a Tamaranian tune, floated down from the ceiling, her eyes glowing with concern. Cyborg's metallic head swiveled, his sonic cannons whirring to life. Blue Beetle's scarab pulsed with a vibrant blue light as his armored form solidified. Trouble? Beast Boy squeaked, reverting to his human form, a smear of grapefruit on his cheek.
Okay.
Cyborg's internal systems displayed a rapidly updating threat assessment. Major intrusion alert. Multiple hostile signatures approaching Jump City. Initial scans indicate something unusual. Unusual how? Raven's voice was low, a hint of unease in its tone. Get this. Cyborg's metallic brow furrowed. We're talking a snake warrior, a shark warrior, a penguin warrior, and get this, a rhino warrior.
Yeah.
All heavily armed and heading straight for the city center. Starfire gasped, her hands flying to her mouth. Creatures of the earth, garbed for battle. What could be the meaning of this? Blue Beetle's glowing blue eyes narrowed. Whoever they are, they're not subtle. Attacking Jump City head-on, they're either incredibly bold or incredibly foolish. Just then, the hangar doors hissed open, revealing the sleek, black form of the Titan's jet, its engines already humming. No time for guessing games. Robin's voice crackled over the comms system. They're making a beeline for downtown. Titans, go! In a flurry of motion, the team piled into the jet. Starfire soared through the open hatch, her starbolts charging. Cyborg took the pilot's seat, his fingers dancing across the controls. Beast Boy morphed into a powerful green falcon, scouting ahead. Raven floated silently, her mystic energy swirling around her. Blue Beetle's wings deployed with a mechanical whir, and he positioned himself by the rear hatch, ready for deployment. As the Titan's jet streaked across the skyline, Cyborg's voice filled the cabin. Visual confirmation. They're causing chaos. Buildings are taking damage. Through the jet's viewport, the scene below was indeed chaotic. A hulking rhino figure charged through traffic, its massive horn tearing through cars like tin cans. A sleek, serpentine warrior, armed with twin blades, slithered through the streets with alarming speed. A penguin-like figure, surprisingly agile, hurled explosive devices that detonated with sharp cracks. And a shark warrior, wielding a trident, smashed through storefronts with brute force. They're organized, Raven observed, her brow furrowed in concentration. This isn't random destruction. They must be after something. Blue Beetle agreed, his armored hands clenching. But what? Whatever it is, they're gonna have to go through us first, Starfire declared, her eyes blazing with righteous fury. The Titan's jet descended rapidly, the wind buffeting its sleek frame. As they approached the epicenter of the attack, Robin's voice echoed in their ears once more. Titans, split up, contain the threats, and try to figure out their objective. Move out!
Okay.
With a synchronized burst of energy and transformed limbs, the Teen Titans plunged into the heart of the chaotic battle, ready to defend their city against the bizarre onslaught of the animalistic warriors. The fate of Jump City hung in the balance.
Yeah. So, on. Make it super epic. Yeah, load it up first.
The Titans descended like avenging angels upon the pandemonium. Starfire, a comet of orange energy, slammed into the Rhino warrior, the force of her starbolt sending the behemoth stumbling back with a surprised bellow. Buildings trembled as the ground cracked beneath its weight. Cyborg, landing with a metallic thud, unleashed a barrage of sonic blasts that ricocheted off the shark warrior's thick hide. The aquatic brute roared in frustration, its trident slashing wildly, carving deep gouges into the asphalt. Cyborg, with lightning-fast reflexes, dodged the attacks, his own energy cannons charging for a more powerful strike. Beast Boy, a blur of emerald, transformed into a colossal green gorilla, meeting the Snake Warrior's swift assault with earth-shattering blows. The serpentine fighter, agile as a striking viper, coiled and struck with its razor-sharp blades, but Beast Boy's thick fur and immense strength absorbed the attacks. With a mighty roar, the gorilla slammed its fists into the ground, sending shockwaves that disrupted the Snake Warrior's movements. Raven, a figure of serene power amidst the chaos, floated above the fray, her dark cloak billowing like a storm cloud. Tendrils of shadow snaked out from her fingertips, ensnaring the penguin warrior, who squawked in surprise as his explosive devices were safely contained within spheres of pure darkness. Her eyes glowed with an inner light as she probed the warrior's mind, seeking answers amidst the confusion. Blue Beetle, his scarab armor gleaming, engaged the Rhino warrior alongside Starfire. His energy cannons pulsed with focused blue energy, striking the armored hide with concussive force. He moved with a surprising agility, dodging the Rhino's clumsy charges while his mandibles snapped with crackling energy.
Right.
The clash of titans and animalistic warriors echoed through the city. Cars lay overturned like discarded toys, storefronts were shattered, and the air crackled with energy.
Powerful
Yet
beings
amidst the
fighting.
destruction, the Teen Titans moved with practiced precision, each member a vital cog in a well-oiled machine. Starfire, with a guttural cry, unleashed a supernova of starbolts, forcing the Rhino warrior to raise its thick arms in defense. Blue Beetle seized the opportunity, launching a powerful energy blast that struck the creature's exposed flank, eliciting a bellow of pain.
Good.
Cyborg, having weathered the Shark Warrior's furious assault, unleashed a concentrated sonic boom that disoriented the aquatic fighter, leaving it vulnerable. With a swift move, Cyborg deployed a heavy-duty net of energy, ensnaring the thrashing Shark Warrior. Beast Boy, still in his gorilla form, pinned the struggling Snake Warrior, its powerful limbs holding the slippery foe immobile. The snake hissed and thrashed, its blades glinting menacingly, but the
Good.
gorilla's grip was unbreakable. Raven, her eyes now glowing with newfound knowledge, descended towards her teammates. "They are being controlled," she stated, her voice resonating with mystic energy. "A powerful psychic influence is forcing them to attack." Just as the Titans began to gain the upper hand,
Hey.
a new presence descended upon the battlefield. A figure cloaked in shadow, radiating an aura of cold command,
Uh-oh.
materialized in the heart of the chaos. Its eyes glowed with an eerie purple light, and a sinister smile
Right
played
in
upon
there.
its lips. "Impressive, young heroes," the figure's voice echoed, laced with dark amusement. "But your efforts are futile." With a wave of its hand, the ensnared animal warriors roared with renewed ferocity, their eyes now mirroring the same malevolent purple glow. The battle for Jump City had just taken a dramatically dangerous turn.
Titans, I'm getting y'all advantage too. No way you did it to the Titans. No way, bro.
Hi, Jane. It's me. So, are you saying I'm unforgettable? Well, I was thinking that today I could come over and bring some coffee to your place.
Run it. Let's go. Yeah, Team Titans you're talking about. These are heavy hitters, bro.
Despite the chilling revelation and the renewed vigor of their magically controlled foes, a surge of unwavering determination coursed through the Teen Titans. Raven's words, instead of sowing despair, ignited a fierce resolve. They had faced mind control before, and they would overcome it again. Starfire, her eyes burning with incandescent light, met the gaze of the mind-controlled Rhino warrior. A wave of pure willpower emanated from her, a silent promise to break the hold that gripped the creature. With a defiant yell, she unleashed another volley of starbolts, this time focusing her energy not on brute force, but on disrupting the unseen influence. Cyborg, his metallic body humming with renewed power, recalibrated his sonic cannons. He analyzed the purple energy that now pulsed within the Shark Warrior, seeking a frequency that could disrupt the controlling signal. His internal processors whirred at lightning speed as he locked onto a counter frequency, unleashing a concentrated sonic wave that vibrated with disruptive energy.
There we
Beast
go.
Boy, shifting into a massive green anaconda, mirrored the Snake Warrior's movements, his immense form coiling around the magically enhanced foe. His powerful constricting muscles squeezed, not to harm, but to disrupt the flow of the controlling energy through its body.
There we go.
His green eyes, filled with empathy, conveyed a silent message of defiance to the puppeted warrior. Raven, focusing her formidable psychic abilities, extended her consciousness, reaching out to the source of the controlling influence. Her brow furrowed in concentration as she navigated the shadowy tendrils of power that bound the animal warriors. She sought not to attack the cloaked figure directly, but to sever the connections, to free the minds trapped within. Blue Beetle, his scarab pulsing with an even brighter intensity, unleashed a barrage of energy blasts at the Rhino warrior, each shot precisely aimed at the points where the purple energy seemed most concentrated. His voice crackled with determined energy as he communicated with his scarab, pushing it to its limits to generate a disruptive counterforce. The cloaked figure watched with a malevolent amusement as the Titans launched their coordinated counterattack. Its purple eyes gleamed with dark power, and a low chuckle echoed through the ravaged streets. Such admirable defiance, it hissed, its voice like the rustling of dry leaves. But you underestimate the strength of my will. With another wave of its hand,
Really?
the purple aura surrounding the animal warriors intensified. The rhino charged with even greater ferocity, its eyes burning with unnatural rage. The shark warrior thrashed with renewed power, its trident leaving trails of water and destruction. The snake warrior struck with blinding speed and precision, its movements now enhanced beyond its natural capabilities. The penguin warrior launched a volley of even more potent explosives, their detonations rocking the surrounding buildings. Yet, the Titans stood firm. Their renewed strength wasn't just physical, it was a strength of spirit, a refusal to yield. They fought not just for Jump City, but for the freedom of these unwilling combatants. The clash between the Titans' unwavering heroism and the cloaked figure's sinister control intensified, the fate of the city and the animal warriors hanging precariously in the balance. The epic battle for Jump City had entered its most critical and fiercely contested phase.
Get comfortable with him. Get to know him. Talk to him about his job, how much he makes. And that way, you have all this information before you attack.
Gotcha. I got this. Wish me luck.
Well, I would, but you're a little bit. Bye, bestie.
You got this. Everything will be fine. Just keep your eye on the prize. Okay? Tropical vacay, baby, right now.
Figure.
Jane.
What do I say? What do you say cloak figure at? We're gonna have to.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll have to surprise you with
Sure, take off my shoes.
these.
Wow. Jake, you have a really beautiful home.
Well, it's not as beautiful as I bumped into me earlier.
Hey, are you flirting with me? I thought we said this wasn't a date.
I think I made it pretty clear on the phone that this was a date.
There. Oh, it looks like you were more prepared than I was.
How could I not be a pretty girl like you?
Yeah, I had Batgirl. Somebody knocked the cloak figure out.
Amidst the chaotic clash, as the mind-controlled animal warriors pressed their furious assault, Raven's brow furrowed in intense concentration. Ignoring the immediate threats, she focused her formidable psychic abilities, reaching across the city, a telepathic beacon cutting through the mental noise. Her message, sharp and urgent, pierced through the din of battle and found its intended recipient. Batgirl, her mental voice echoed, clear and strong despite the distance and the surrounding chaos. The cloaked figure, it's the source. Psychic control. You need to get here. Now. Knock him out. End this. A moment of silent tension hung in the air. The sounds of the ongoing fight, the only response. Then, a familiar, determined voice echoed back in Raven's mind, laced with a readiness that cut through the urgency. Go on. A small, almost imperceptible flicker of relief crossed Raven's face. Help was on its way, but they had to hold out until Batgirl arrived. The animal warriors, their movements now frighteningly coordinated under the cloaked figure's influence, pressed their attack with relentless fury. The rhino, its eyes burning with purple energy, charged Starfire with earth-shattering force. The Tamaranian warrior met the attack head-on, her starbolts erupting in a blinding display of power, trying to stagger the beast and disrupt the controlling influence. Cyborg, battling the relentlessly thrashing shark warrior, continued to bombard it with counter-frequency sonic blasts, hoping to overload the psychic control. Sparks flew from his metallic limbs as the shark's trident grazed his armor. Beast Boy, still coiled around the snake warrior, tightened his grip, the immense pressure a constant disruption to the flow of the controlling energy.
Right.
The snake hissed and writhed, its enhanced strength making it a formidable opponent even in Beast Boy's constricting hold. Blue Beetle, Dodging the Penguin Warrior's increasingly powerful explosives unleashed a continuous stream of energy blasts, targeting the cloaked figure in the distance whenever an opening presented itself, a constant barrage to distract the puppet master. Every second stretched into an eternity. The arrival of Batgirl was their only hope to break the cloaked figure's control and end the nightmare engulfing Jump City. The Teen Titans fought with a desperate intensity, each member pushing their abilities to the limit, buying precious time for their ally to reach them. The fate of the city and the minds of the enslaved warriors rested on the speed and skill of the Bat of Gotham. The epic showdown reached a fever pitch, a desperate race against time and a sinister psychic power.
It becomes clear that Dick is really into Nancy, and eventually, their attention shifts to the show.
Batgirl, knock this person out. I'm sick of this person. Batgirl, knock him out.
A shadow detached itself from the grimy rooftops overlooking the chaotic battlefield. Batgirl, a figure of silent precision and coiled energy, moved with the fluid grace of her namesake, a dark silhouette against the bruised twilight sky. Her gaze, sharp and focused, was fixed on the cloaked figure orchestrating the animalistic assault. She moved swiftly, utilizing the urban landscape as her personal playground. Leaping across rooftops, grappling down the sides of buildings, she navigated the ravaged streets with an uncanny agility, weaving through the debris and the ongoing skirmishes without being detected by the mind-controlled warriors. Her approach was silent, a phantom in the urban jungle, her target the linchpin of this bizarre attack. The cloaked figure, seemingly confident in its control, remained in the center of the chaos, occasionally gesturing with a languid hand to direct its animalistic puppets. It was so focused on observing the Titan's desperate resistance that it failed to notice the silent predator closing in from above. With a final silent glide, Batgirl launched herself from a towering skyscraper. Her cape billowed behind her like black wings as she plummeted towards the unsuspecting figure. The element of surprise was her greatest weapon. Just as the Rhino Warrior bellowed and charged towards Starfire, and the Shark Warrior lunged at Cyborg with its trident, a dark blur descended from the sky. With a swift, expertly aimed strike, Batgirl's reinforced boot connected squarely with the back of the cloaked figure's head. The impact was immediate and decisive. The cloaked figure staggered, its eerie purple glow flickering and then abruptly vanishing. Its body went limp, collapsing onto the shattered asphalt like a puppet with its strings cut. The effect was instantaneous. The purple energy that had pulsed within the eyes of the animal warriors winked out. The Rhino Warrior, mid-charge, stumbled to a halt, its enraged bellow turning into a confused grunt. The Shark Warrior's trident clattered to the ground as it blinked in disorientation. The Snake Warrior unwound itself from Beast Boy's constricting grip, its movements sluggish and uncertain. The Penguin Warrior dropped its explosive devices as it looked around in bewildered confusion. The sudden cessation of the magical control sent ripples of surprise through the Teen Titans. Starfire hovered in midair, her starbolts dissipating. Cyborg lowered his sonic cannons, his metallic head tilting in astonishment. Beast Boy reverted to his human form, his green skin fading back to normal. Raven lowered her shadowy tendrils, her intense concentration easing. Blue Beetle's scarab pulsed less frantically. Silence descended upon the ravaged streets, broken only by the groans of the disoriented animal warriors and the collective gasps of the Teen Titans. They stared at the fallen cloaked figure, the source of the nightmare now seemingly neutralized by Batgirl's swift and decisive action. Batgirl landed gracefully beside the unconscious figure, her gaze sharp and assessing. The battle was far from over, but the tide had undeniably turned. The renewed strength of the Titans, coupled with Batgirl's timely intervention, had struck a critical blow against their mysterious adversary. The question now remained, who was this cloaked figure, and what was their ultimate goal? The epic clash for Jump City had reached a pivotal, albeit temporary, moment of reprieve.
Wow.
Acting like anything, okay?
Okay, so I'll say 5 months.
What's the plan, big guy? Obviously you've been lagging.
No, I have a plan. The plan is... So, the plan is we'll go on a couple more dates with this guy, but actually fall in love with him. You know, the kind of love that makes you crazy, the kind of love where you do anything for the person. And then you're gonna say that you're somebody with. And like, get ready no matter what, you know, obviously, make it super
Easy.
Come on, Gemini, hurry up.
28 days. 4 weeks. In the aftermath of the chaotic attack on Jump City, the city slowly began to heal, both physically and emotionally. The animal warriors, freed from their psychic enslavement, were carefully apprehended and placed in specialized facilities for study and rehabilitation, their memories of the event hazy and fragmented. The Teen Titans remained vigilant, the unsettling nature of the attack leaving them on edge. Batgirl, however, couldn't shake the feeling that this was far from over. The cloaked figure, upon regaining consciousness, had been surprisingly unrevealing, offering cryptic pronouncements about a, quote, a greater purpose and a coming storm before being taken into custody. His identity remained a mystery, his motives shrouded in shadow. Driven by an insatiable need to understand the true nature of the threat, Batgirl embarked on her own investigation. She delved into the occult, the arcane, and the forgotten corners of the internet, cross-referencing the strange symbols found on the cloaked figure's robes with ancient texts and obscure databases. She spent countless nights in the Batcave, poring over confiscated artifacts and surveillance footage, piecing together fragments of information like shards of a broken mirror. Her search led her down a rabbit hole of clandestine organizations and whispered legends. She uncovered tales of a shadowy cabal known as the Animus Syndicate, a group rumored to possess the ability to manipulate the minds of living creatures, twisting their natural instincts for nefarious purposes. The legends spoke of their desire to disrupt the balance between the human and animal worlds, to sow chaos and establish their dominance. The symbols on the cloaked figure's robes matched those associated with the Animus Syndicate in several ancient texts. Furthermore, Batgirl discovered a series of coded messages circulating within encrypted online channels, hinting at a large-scale operation targeting major urban centers. Jump City, it seemed, was merely the first stage. One particular message, heavily encrypted and recently activated, mentioned a convergence point and a date, the next full moon. The location was a set of coordinates pointing to a remote, abandoned research facility on the outskirts of Gotham City. A cold dread washed over Batgirl. The Animus Syndicate wasn't just about random chaos. They had a plan, a timeline, and a specific location in mind. The attack on Jump City was a test, a demonstration of their power. The full moon, a time often associated with heightened mystical energies, likely held significant importance for their convergence. Standing in the dimly lit Batcave, the holographic display showcasing the Animus Syndicate's ominous symbols and the coordinates of the Gotham facility, Batgirl finally understood the gravity of the situation. This wasn't just about a rogue individual. It was about a dangerous organization with the potential to unleash widespread chaos. The Teen Titans had won the first round, but the true battle was yet to come, and it would unfold in her own backyard. The pieces of the puzzle had finally clicked into place, revealing a terrifying picture of the force lurking behind the attack on Jump City. The Animus Syndicate was real, and their coming storm was rapidly approaching.
Oh.
Oh my gosh, you actually made us something. That's so sweet.
Looks like I should take a job now.
You know what? Maybe we should take my job. I really appreciate it.
Of course. I mean, I wanted to do something special for you. You know, you're beautiful.
So, I actually wanted to ask you about something.
Sure.
It's about what I moved. See, back in New York, I was really act why I moved. It was really possessive and scary, and he threatened to come and find me if I didn't pay him. So, it was really maybe for someone.
Oh, wow, that's a lot. I'm so sorry that you feel like that. I mean, especially when you're all people don't deserve it. I started to fall for you so quickly. I don't know, it's kind of crazy how much time.
I know it's a lot. It's been catching my interest since I haven't been able to pay him. It really scares me. That it won't end.
Nancy, I've got you, okay? I mean, 25 grand, it's not that much. If I keep the money and give it to them, then this will all just go away, right?
Yes. I can finally listen to him. Thank you so much. You're amazing. I mean, this is so much to ask.
You don't get me scared, okay? I
was starting to fall in love. Yeah. No, it's just I've never developed feelings for anyone this quickly, and I don't know, you're just different from anyone else. Whatever.
There we go.
Go get you that chick.
It's a lot of typing, yo. Hang on. We're back.
The biting wind whipped across the desolate outskirts of Gotham, carrying with it the metallic tang of decay from the abandoned research facility. Moonlight cast long, skeletal shadows from the crumbling structures, painting the scene in shades of gray and black. Batgirl, a solitary figure against this bleak backdrop, moved with cautious stealth, her senses on high alert. The encrypted messages had led her here, to this forgotten place where the Animus Syndicate's convergence was likely to occur. She circled the perimeter, her gaze sweeping over the rusted fences and boarded-up windows. The air hummed with an unsettling stillness, broken only by the distant howl of a stray dog. This place felt wrong, heavy with a sense of forgotten experiments and latent danger. Just as she identified a potential entry point, a partially collapsed section of the back wall, a sudden rustling sound broke the silence behind her. Before she could react, a sharp, stinging pain erupted at the base of her skull. The world swam for a disorienting moment, and a wave of dizziness washed over her. Instinct took over. Batgirl spun around, her body already moving into a defensive stance despite the throbbing in her head. Her eyes narrowed, focusing on her attacker. Standing in the shadows, silhouetted against the pale moonlight, was a woman clad in sleek, form-fitting hunter gear of deep purple. The material seemed to absorb the light, making her appear almost like a phantom. Her posture was predatory, her stance radiating confidence and lethal intent. In her hands, she held what looked like a high-tech crossbow, its limbs glowing faintly with an eerie violet energy. A cold smile stretched across the woman's lips, her eyes glinting with a strange amusement. "Well, well," she purred, her voice smooth and dangerous, like the slither of a venomous snake. "Look what the cat dragged in. You must be the curious little bat who's been poking around where she doesn't belong." She lowered her crossbow slightly, her gaze never leaving Batgirl's. "Allow me to introduce myself. They call me Vipera, and you, little bat, have just stumbled into my hunting grounds."
Let me get that girl's name, because I ain't gonna... Vipera. Good job naming her, Gemini. What? Background and get her revenge back.
The throbbing pain in the back of her head served as a brutal reminder of the ambush, but it also ignited a fierce surge of adrenaline. Vipera's introduction, delivered with that chillingly confident smirk, only fueled Batgirl's resolve. There was no time for fear, no room for hesitation. Reacting with lightning-fast reflexes honed by years of training, Batgirl launched herself forward.
Yes.
Her movement was a blur, a swift strike born of instinct and necessity. She closed the distance between them in a heartbeat, her leg arcing in a powerful upward kick aimed squarely at Vipera's face. The snap of the air as Batgirl's boot cut through it was the only warning Vipera had. The kick landed with a solid thwack, the force of it rocking Vipera back. Her head snapped to the side, and a grunt of surprise and pain escaped her lips. The smug smile vanished, replaced by a flash of anger in her violet eyes. Vipera stumbled, momentarily thrown off balance by the unexpected ferocity and speed of Batgirl's attack. The high-tech crossbow in her hands wavered slightly. This little bat was clearly more dangerous than she had anticipated. Seizing the opportunity, Batgirl pressed her advantage. She didn't wait for Vipera to recover, instead following up her initial strike with a series of rapid-fire attacks. A sharp jab aimed at Vipera's midsection, followed by a spinning kick targeting her ribs. Batgirl moved with a whirlwind of controlled aggression, her movements fluid and precise, each strike designed to disable and disorient. Vipera, though caught off guard, was no novice. Recovering quickly, she raised her arms to block Batgirl's follow-up attacks. The impact of Batgirl's strikes against her armored gear echoed in the stillness of the night. Violet energy crackled around Vipera's crossbow as she tried to create distance, a dangerous glint in her eyes promising a swift and brutal retaliation. The initial surprise had worn off. The hunter had become the hunted, at least for this brief moment. The fight for information, and perhaps for survival, had begun in earnest under the cold gaze of the Gotham moon.
Had Batgirl throw her by her foot to a car and explode that thing. Sorry, trying to kill the girl.
Vipera, though momentarily stunned, was a seasoned combatant.
Ugh.
She absorbed Batgirl's rapid strikes, the specialized armor of her hunter gear deflecting the brunt of the impact. With a guttural growl, she shoved Batgirl back, creating a crucial few feet of space. Raising her high-tech crossbow, Vipera's violet eyes narrowed with focused intensity. The weapon hummed with power, the eerie violet energy intensifying around its limbs. This was no ordinary crossbow.
No.
It was a device capable of unleashing significant force, likely with various specialized bolts. "You're fast, little bat," Vipera hissed, wiping a trickle of blood from the corner of her lip.
Oh.
"I'll give you that. But speed won't save you from what I have in store." Before Batgirl could close the distance again, Vipera fired. Not a single bolt, but a rapid succession of 3 projectiles that streaked through the night air, each leaving a faint violet trail. They weren't aimed directly at Batgirl's center mass, but rather to cut off her movements, forcing her to evade. Batgirl reacted instantly, her body twisting and contorting in a fluid sequence of dodges. The first bolt whizzed past her ear, close enough for her to feel the heat. The second forced her to drop into a low crouch, the projectile whistling just above her back. The third grazed her arm, tearing through the reinforced fabric of her gauntlet and leaving a burning sensation. Realizing the danger of Vipera's weapon, Batgirl changed her tactics. Direct confrontation at close range had yielded an initial advantage, but now Vipera was armed and ready. Batgirl needed to use the environment to her benefit, to close the distance without becoming an easy target. She darted towards the crumbling walls of the research facility, using the dilapidated structures as cover. She moved erratically, weaving behind pillars of decaying concrete and rusted metal, trying to break Vipera's line of sight. Vipera, her violet eyes tracking Batgirl's movements, stalked forward, her crossbow raised and ready. She fired another volley of energy bolts, tearing chunks out of the decaying walls where Batgirl had just been. The air crackled with discharged energy, the scent of ozone filling the night. "Running won't save you," Vipera called out, her voice echoing through the deserted facility grounds. "You can't hide from the hunt." Batgirl, using the shadows and the uneven terrain to her advantage, was indeed running, but not aimlessly. She was maneuvering, setting a trap. She knew Vipera would follow, confident in her superior firepower. And as Vipera rounded a crumbling corner, Batgirl was waiting, coiled and ready to strike once more. The hunter was about to become the prey again.
Chance I will be trustworthy from here on out.
3 E's, baby. Woohoo! Freaking eye problem. Leave me alone.
Batgirl waited, her breath held tight in her chest, the shadows clinging to her like a second skin. The crunch of gravel under Vipera's boots signaled her approach. As the purple-clad hunter rounded the corner, crossbow raised and ready to fire, Batgirl sprang. This time, instead of a direct kick, Batgirl launched herself into a low slide, her armored legs scything out from under Vipera. The unexpected move caught Vipera completely off guard. Her footing, already precarious on the uneven ground, gave way. With a surprised yelp, her legs were swept out from beneath her. Vipera crashed to the ground with a heavy thud, the high-tech crossbow skittering across the rough concrete. The violet energy around it flickered and died. The wind was momentarily knocked out of her, and she gasped for air. Before Vipera could recover, Batgirl was on her, moving with the speed and agility of a striking bat. She landed in a crouch beside the fallen hunter, her gaze intense and unwavering. In her hand, she now held a compact high-tensile grappling line, the metallic glint barely visible in the dim moonlight. With swift, practiced movements, Batgirl began to secure Vipera's wrists, the strong, thin cord biting into the hunter's armored gauntlets. Vipera struggled, her eyes wide with fury, but the surprise attack and the sudden restraint left her at a significant disadvantage. "Who are you working for?" Batgirl's voice was low and demanding, the earlier pain from her head injury, adding a raw edge to her tone. "The Animus Syndicate? What are you planning?" Vipera thrashed against the restraints, her muscles straining against the unyielding cord. "You'll get nothing from me, Bat," she spat, her voice laced with venomous defiance. "Our plans are far beyond your comprehension." Batgirl tightened the restraints, causing Vipera to hiss in pain. "This facility, the convergence point. What's going to happen here?" Vipera remained stubbornly silent, her lips pressed into a thin, angry line. Her violet eyes burned with a fierce loyalty that Batgirl recognized. This woman was more than just a hired gun. She was a true believer. Frustration gnawed at Batgirl. Time was running out. The full moon was approaching, and the Animus Syndicate was clearly planning something big. She needed answers, and she needed them now. Thinking quickly, Batgirl shifted her approach. The animals in Jump City. You controlled them. How? A flicker of something, perhaps pride, crossed Vipera's face. We merely guided their natural instincts, unleashed their primal power. Guided? You enslaved them. Batgirl's voice was sharp with anger.
Okay. My mom was telling me something.
What's your ultimate goal? To turn the entire world into some kind of animalistic zoo? Vipera's defiant facade wavered for a fraction of a second.
Mom told me something.
A strange fanaticism gleamed in her eyes. The natural order will be restored. Humanity has grown arrogant, blind to the true power of the animal kingdom. We will awaken that power, reshape the world in its image. The chilling conviction in Vipera's voice sent a shiver down Batgirl's spine. This wasn't just about control. It was about a radical ideology, a dangerous vision of a world turned upside down. And this abandoned research facility, under the looming full moon, was likely the first step in their terrifying plan. Batgirl knew she had to stop them, and Vipera, despite her resistance, was her only lead.
If my mom tell me something, y'all, she's gone somewhere. Say glued and glided. You enslaved them. Batgirl's voice, sharp as anger. What's your ultimate goal? Just in case you guys missed that part. Just in case she's about hearing because mom told me something. But she was telling me something, y'all. But anyway, I'm gonna put go on. I'm gonna put go on. We need more. That was your only lead. Wobby, you might get that person to fight you, Batgirl. I mean, hang on, Batgirl. We need some rest. You just fought one person already.
Batgirl leaned in closer, her gaze piercing. How? How do you awaken this power?
Yeah, tell us. I'm confused.
What are you going to do here, under the full moon?
Magic stuff.
Vipera remained silent for a long moment, her chest heaving with suppressed rage. The restraints were biting into her wrists, and the fight had clearly taken its toll.
Perish, dude.
But the fanatic gleam in her eyes hadn't dimmed. Then, a slow, deliberate smile spread across her lips, a chilling contrast to her earlier fury. You really want to know, little bat? You want to see the dawn of the new world? She paused, drawing a ragged breath. This facility, it wasn't always abandoned. It was a research center, yes, but not for anything human. Here, we learned to amplify, to resonate, to tap into the primal frequencies that lie dormant within all living things. Vipera's voice grew stronger, a disturbing enthusiasm creeping in. The full moon, it acts as a catalyst, a celestial amplifier. Tonight, we will unleash a wave, a sonic pulse of pure animus energy. It will wash over Gotham, then the entire region, awakening the latent power within the animal kingdom on an unprecedented scale. They will rise. They will reclaim what is theirs. A horrifying image flashed through Batgirl's mind. Not just a few controlled animals, but the entire animal population of Gotham, suddenly imbued with enhanced aggression, heightened instincts, and a unified primal purpose. The chaos in Jump City would be a mere tremor compared to the earthquake that Vipera was describing. You're insane, Batgirl breathed, the implications of Vipera's words sinking in. You'll cause mass panic, destruction. Vipera's smile widened. A necessary disruption. A cleansing. Humanity has had its time. The age of the animal is dawning. Just then, a low, rhythmic humming began to emanate from within the depths of the abandoned facility. It was a subtle vibration at first, barely perceptible, but it steadily grew in intensity, resonating through the ground and up into Batgirl's very bones. Vipera's eyes lit up with a manic glee. It has begun, she whispered, her voice filled with a triumphant anticipation. The convergence is at hand. You're too late, little bat. The world will soon understand the true meaning of the wild. Batgirl's heart pounded in her chest. The humming intensified, and she could feel a strange pressure building in the air. Vipera's words, coupled with the ominous vibrations, painted a terrifying picture. She had to get inside that facility, and fast. Whatever the Animus Syndicate was planning, it was already underway. And the full moon, now beginning its ascent in the inky sky, cast long, ominous shadows over the desolate landscape, a silent witness to the impending chaos. the ominous humming from within the facility grew stronger, vibrating through the very ground beneath her, Batgirl knew she was facing a threat far beyond what she could handle alone. Time was rapidly running out. With Vipera securely restrained but her terrifying revelations echoing in the night air, Batgirl's fingers flew across her gauntlet's communicator. Her first message went to the most powerful ally she could reach quickly. To Supergirl. Subject: Urgent. Animus Syndicate. Gotham Outskirts. Text: Kara. Massive threat. Animus Syndicate planning citywide animal control event under full moon at abandoned research facility outskirts Gotham. Need immediate backup. This is huge. Next, her thumb hovered over Nightwing's contact. He was closer, his tactical mind and fighting skills invaluable. 2. Nightwing. Subject: Code Red. Animus Syndicate. Gotham. Text: Dick. Hostile situation escalating fast outskirts Gotham. Animus Syndicate. Involved. Planning mass animal control. Need you here ASAP. Facility near Old Wayne Biotech. Finally, she reached out to another powerful ally, one with experience facing unusual threats and a strong sense of justice. 2. Stargirl. Subject: Emergency. Animus Syndicate. Gotham. Text: Courtney. Desperate situation in Gotham. Animus Syndicate. Activating mass animal control using tech/mystic influence at abandoned research facility outskirts. Need your light and power here now. With the urgent messages sent, Batgirl didn't wait for a reply. Every second counted. The humming from the facility was intensifying, a palpable wave of strange energy washing over the area. Whatever device or ritual the Animus Syndicate was activating, it was reaching a critical point. Leaving the restrained Vipera on the cold ground, Batgirl turned towards the gaping hole in the facility's back wall, the source of the unsettling vibrations. She had to get inside, to disrupt whatever was happening before her allies arrived. The fate of Gotham, and potentially much more, hung in the balance. The full moon climbed higher in the sky, casting an eerie glow on the abandoned facility, a silent countdown to the Animus Syndicate's terrifying convergence.
Go on. Tell me more. We need to know what happened. We get like freaking Huntress and the Question in here too.
Batgirl slipped through the jagged opening in the wall, the humming from within intensifying as she entered the abandoned research facility. The air inside was thick with the smell of dust, decay, and something else, a faint metallic tang that made her nostrils flare. The darkness was almost absolute, the moonlight struggling to penetrate the grimy windows. She activated the night vision in her cowl, the world resolving into shades of green. The facility was a labyrinth of corridors and chambers, filled with rusting machinery, broken equipment, and scattered papers. It looked like whatever experiments had been conducted here had been abruptly halted long ago. The humming was loudest in the central chamber, a vast, circular room dominated by a massive, complex device. It resembled a cross between a giant tuning fork and a Tesla coil, its metal arms branching out like skeletal fingers. Wires snaked across the floor, connecting the device to a series of consoles covered in archaic symbols and strange, glowing crystals. The air around it shimmered with barely visible energy. As Batgirl cautiously approached, she saw figures moving in the shadows. Not the animal warriors, but humans. Clad in the same purple hunter gear as Vipera, they worked with a frenzied intensity, adjusting dials, chanting in low voices, their eyes fixed on the central device. They were clearly preparing for the convergence. One figure, taller and more imposing than the rest, stood at the main console, his back to Batgirl. He wore a more elaborate version of the purple gear, with strange, bone-like protrusions extending from his shoulders. He seemed to be the leader, orchestrating the final preparations. As Batgirl watched, the humming reached a crescendo. The central device began to glow with an intense violet light, the air around it crackling with energy. The symbols on the consoles pulsed, and the crystals emitted a strange, resonant frequency. The leader raised his hands, and the chanting of the purple-clad figures grew louder, more frantic. He spoke in a language Batgirl didn't recognize, but the intent was clear. This was a ritual, a ceremony, a final step before unleashing whatever sonic pulse Vipera had described. Batgirl knew she had to act, and fast. Supergirl, Nightwing, and Stargirl were on their way, but they wouldn't arrive in time to stop this. She was alone, facing a room full of fanatics on the verge of unleashing a terrifying weapon. The fate of Gotham, and perhaps the world, rested on her shoulders. The full moon, now at its zenith, cast its cold light through the broken windows, illuminating the scene of impending chaos.
I hope they come soon. Come, guys, hurry up. Come on, Nightwing, Supergirl, and Stargirl, hurry up.
Stealth was no longer an option. The humming device was reaching critical mass, and the chanting of the Animus Syndicate members filled the chamber. Batgirl knew that any attempt to silently disable the machine would likely be detected. She had to create a diversion, disrupt their ritual, and buy time for her allies to arrive. With a burst of adrenaline, Batgirl launched a volley of batarangs. They spun through the air with deadly precision, not aimed to kill, but to disarm and distract. The sharp metallic shink of the batarangs impacting consoles and slicing through wires echoed through the chamber, momentarily interrupting the chanting and causing sparks to fly. Chaos erupted. The purple-clad figure shrieked in surprise and alarm, scrambling away from the damaged equipment. The leader at the main console whirled around, his face contorted in fury. His eyes, glowing with the same eerie violet energy as Vipera's crossbow, locked onto Batgirl. "Intruder!" he roared, his voice amplified by the strange acoustics of the chamber. "Seize her!" The Animus Syndicate members surged towards Batgirl, their movements surprisingly swift and coordinated. They were clearly more than just cultists. They possessed some level of combat training. Batgirl met their charge head-on. She moved with a whirlwind of martial arts prowess, her strikes precise and powerful. A sharp elbow to the jaw of one attacker, a sweeping leg that sent two others tumbling. She used the environment to her advantage, flipping over overturned equipment and using the shadows to momentarily disappear and reappear, disorienting her opponents. However, they were numerous and driven by fanaticism. They pressed their attack relentlessly, forcing Batgirl to fight defensively while trying to make her way towards the central device. She needed to disable it before it could unleash its sonic pulse. As she fought, Batgirl kept a wary eye on the leader. He stood at the damaged console, his hands glowing with violet energy as he frantically tried to repair the disrupted systems.
Right.
He seemed to be the key to stopping the entire operation. Suddenly, the humming of the central device sputtered and fluctuated. The intense violet light flickered erratically. Batgirl's attack had bought her some time, but the device was still active, still building towards its terrifying crescendo. Just as one of the Animus Syndicate members managed to grapple her leg, a blinding flash of golden light erupted from outside the facility, followed by a powerful sonic boom that rattled the very foundations of the building. "Looks like the cavalry has arrived," Batgirl muttered, a surge of relief washing over her. Supergirl was here, and judging by the sonic boom, she hadn't been subtle. The battle for Gotham had just received a major reinforcement.
Supergirl is here! Come on, Supergirl! Yeah, come on.
The force of Supergirl's arrival was like a shockwave, the sonic boom momentarily stunning the Animus Syndicate members and sending them staggering back. The walls of the dilapidated facility groaned under the sudden pressure. Supergirl herself blasted through the weakened section of the wall Batgirl had entered through, a radiant figure of gold and blue against the oppressive darkness. Her eyes blazed with righteous fury as she took in the chaotic scene. Batgirl surrounded by purple-clad attackers, the humming, violet-glowing device at the center of the room, and the frantic leader at its controls. "Animus Syndicate," Supergirl's voice resonated through the chamber, carrying an unmistakable tone of authority. "Stand down now." Her words had little effect. The fanatics, driven by their zealous devotion, pressed their attack on Batgirl with renewed ferocity, seemingly undeterred by the Kryptonian's arrival. Seeing this, Supergirl didn't hesitate. With a powerful leap, she soared towards the central device, intending to disable it directly. But the leader, anticipating her move, unleashed a blast of concentrated violet energy from his hands. The beam struck Supergirl mid-air, momentarily halting her advance and causing her to grunt in surprise. The energy felt strangely disruptive, not purely concussive, but something that interfered with her powers. Before Supergirl could recover, the Animus Syndicate members turned their attention to her, unleashing a barrage of energy blasts and strange sonic attacks from devices built into their gauntlets. While individually they posed little threat to Supergirl, their coordinated assault and the unusual nature of their energy weapons forced her to focus on defense. Meanwhile, the sounds of further arrivals echoed from outside. The whoosh of Nightwing's grappling lines and the crackle of Stargirl's cosmic staff indicated that the rest of the reinforcements had arrived. Nightwing, agile and silent as a shadow, entered the chamber, his eskrima sticks flashing as he expertly took down several of the Animus Syndicate members who had broken away to engage Supergirl. Stargirl, her cosmic staff glowing with brilliant energy, unleashed blasts of pure light, stunning the fanatics and creating openings for Batgirl to maneuver. With her allies engaging the majority of the Animus Syndicate, Batgirl saw her chance. She broke free from the remaining attackers and sprinted towards the central device. The humming was now a
Batgirl.
deafening roar, the violet light pulsating violently. The leader was still frantically working at the console, his face illuminated by the eerie glow. "It's too late, Bat!" he shrieked over the din. "The awakening has begun." Ignoring him, Batgirl focused on the device. She analyzed its intricate workings with a speed born of desperation, identifying the main power conduits and the crystalline resonators that seemed to be generating the sonic pulse. With a series of precise strikes, using specialized EMP batarangs, she targeted these critical components. Sparks flew, crystals shattered, and the intense violet light of the device flickered and died, plunging the central chamber into a relative dimness. The deafening hum abruptly ceased, replaced by a ringing silence. The Animus Syndicate members faltered, their chanting dying in their throats, their fanatic fervor momentarily extinguished by the sudden failure of their machine.
Yep.
The convergence had been interrupted. But the fight was far from over. The leader turned his full, furious attention on Batgirl, and his eyes burned with an unholy light.
And you mad Batgirl has some friends?
The abrupt silence in the chamber was heavy, broken only by the ragged breaths of the combatants and the crackling of damaged equipment. The leader of the Animus Syndicate stared at Batgirl, his violet eyes blazing with unadulterated
Don't get mad at her,
rage.
she beat you
The
up.
failure of his machine, the shattering of his plans, had clearly pushed him beyond fury into a state of primal aggression. He lunged at Batgirl with surprising speed for his size, his movements fueled by pure desperation. His hands crackled with the same disruptive violet energy that had struck Supergirl. Batgirl, anticipating his attack, sidestepped his clumsy charge and delivered a sharp kick to his side. The leader staggered but didn't fall. He roared, a guttural sound filled with animalistic fury, and swung wildly, the violet energy arcing from his fingertips like miniature lightning bolts. Batgirl was forced to evade, the strange energy making the air around him feel charged and dangerous. Supergirl, having dealt with the initial wave of fanatics, joined the fray, her heat vision flaring. Two concentrated beams of intense heat lanced towards the leader, forcing him to break off his attack on Batgirl and raise his arms in defense. The violet energy emanating from him formed a shimmering shield, momentarily deflecting the heat vision but clearly straining under the immense power. Nightwing and Stargirl continued to subdue the remaining Animus Syndicate members, their combined skills and powers making short work of the brainwashed cultists. The fight was turning decisively in the hero's favor. Seeing his plan unraveling and his followers being defeated, the leader let out another furious bellow. He slammed his hands onto the damaged console, and a surge of raw violet energy coursed through his body. His form began to distort, his muscles bulging, his features becoming more bestial. The bone-like protrusions on his shoulders elongated into sharp spikes, and his eyes glowed with an even more intense, malevolent light. "You will not stop the awakening," he roared, his voice now a monstrous growl. He had somehow merged with or amplified himself, using the remnants of his failed machine, transforming into a formidable, energy-infused brute. He charged again, no longer with any semblance of human agility, but with the raw power of a cornered animal. Supergirl met his charge head-on, their clash shaking the very foundations of the facility. Nightwing and Stargirl moved to flank the transformed leader, their attacks coordinated to exploit any weakness. Batgirl, meanwhile, surveyed the damaged console, searching for any remaining clues about the Animus Syndicate's plans and the nature of their technology. The final confrontation had begun, a battle against a leader who had embraced the very primal power he sought to unleash upon the world. The transformed leader of the Animus Syndicate was a terrifying spectacle. His enhanced strength and the raw violet energy crackling around him made him a formidable opponent. Supergirl traded powerful blows with the brute, the impact of their clashes echoing through the chamber like thunder. Her super strength was matched by his newfound power, but her control and experience kept her from being overwhelmed. Nightwing, a blur of acrobatic motion, darted around the behemoth, striking at vulnerable points with his Eskrima sticks, each blow crackling with a small electrical charge. Stargirl unleashed blasts of cosmic energy, forcing the leader to stumble and momentarily lose focus on Supergirl. Batgirl, meanwhile, had discovered a data pad connected to the ruined console. Its screen was cracked, but she managed to extract some corrupted files. As she quickly scrolled through the fragmented data, she saw schematics of the central device, along with disturbing notes detailing the Animus Syndicate's methods of amplifying animal instincts through specific sonic frequencies and psychic suggestion. There were also references to other convergence points marked on a map, though the locations were heavily encrypted. Suddenly, the transformed leader roared in frustration as Supergirl landed a powerful right hook, sending him staggering back towards the damaged console. In his enraged state, he lashed out blindly, his energy-infused fist slamming into the remnants of the machine. A surge of uncontrolled violet energy erupted from the damaged console, arcing wildly around the chamber. It struck Supergirl, causing her to cry out in pain as the disruptive energy coursed through her. It slammed into Nightwing, sending him flying back against a wall. It washed over Stargirl, momentarily dimming the light of her cosmic staff, and it struck the transformed leader himself, bathing him in an unstable torrent of his own amplified power. He roared, a sound of agony and ecstasy combined, as his body began to convulse and distort even further. The violet energy around him intensified to a blinding degree. "He's overloading," Batgirl yelled, realizing the danger. "Everyone, get back!" Before anyone could react fully, the transformed leader of the Animus Syndicate detonated in a violent explosion of raw violet energy. The force of the blast ripped through the chamber, sending debris flying and knocking the heroes off their feet. The very air crackled with residual energy. When the dust settled, the transformed leader was gone, reduced to nothing more than scorched earth. The remaining Animus Syndicate members, stunned and leaderless, were quickly apprehended by Nightwing and Stargirl. Supergirl, though weakened, was recovering, the strange energy slowly dissipating from her system. Batgirl, shaken but unharmed, clutched the damaged datapad. The immediate threat was neutralized, but the fragmented information she had recovered painted a disturbing picture of a larger network and more planned attacks. The Animus Syndicate was more widespread and more dangerous than they had initially realized. The battle for Jump City and Gotham might be over for now, but the war against the forces seeking to unleash the primal chaos was just beginning. The full moon, now high in the sky, seemed to cast a knowing light on the heroes, a silent reminder of the darkness that still lurked in the shadows. I'm glad you enjoyed the story. It was quite a ride, wasn't it? All those twists and turns, the epic battles, and the looming threat of the Animus Syndicate. Is there anything else you'd like to explore? Or perhaps another story you'd like to hear?
No, not.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, in that case, a big hi everyone from me. I hope you're all having a wonderful time watching this video. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, buddy.
You're most welcome. I'm glad I could help. If you need anything else at all, don't hesitate to ask. Have a great rest of your day in Mansfield, Ohio.
Thanks. Let's go.
You're very welcome. If you ever need more stories, information, or just someone to chat with, I'll be here. Have a fantastic evening in Mansfield.
You too, buddy. You too. Bye, guys. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Hope you enjoyed this video. See y'all. I'm gonna draw it here. Bye. Bye, ring. Sorry. Bye, y'all. Bye, bye. See ya. Let me draw something else. Let me draw something else. Okay. See ya. Bye, bye.